Hey guys, here at osmpdxreviews.com. Today we're giving our full video review of the Sony Ericsson Walkman, the W960i series smartphone. This is the most advanced Sony Walkman phone to ever come out of Sony's labs, and it basically crosses the line of what's between a Walkman series advanced music feature phone and an actual smartphone. We say this is a smartphone because it has a full touchscreen display, it has Wi-Fi, it has Bluetooth, it has GPS, it has 3G, it has 8 gigs of built-in memory that is non-user removable, it runs on Symbian OS, it has a touchscreen, a front-facing camera, a back-facing camera that's pretty advanced and offers great functionality, a lot of apps, third-party apps you can install, and the list just goes on and on and on. And for all those features though, you are paying a premium, and Sony is really differentiating this from a smart feature phone by pricing this at $390, but that is an unlocked price, so you will be able to insert a SIM card from any service around the world and be ready to go. This is a GSM quad-band world phone. In terms of design, the Sony Ericsson, again, W960 series looks pretty good. It actually deceives a lot of people by making it look like a generic candy bar phone when it actually isn't. It's actually larger than what most people think. It's around the same size as an actual iPhone, and because of that, you'll actually have, they actually had space, again, to fill it in with that full touchscreen that's around 3-inch display. The touchscreen itself is pretty responsive and pretty bright and vibrant, as you'll see once we turn the device on, but it is a resistive screen, which means you have to use a stylus with this device. On top of the Sony Ericsson logo, you'll find access to a VGA front-facing camera for video calls in countries and nations that allow for that, and you also have the earpiece and a proximity sensor. And below these buttons, you actually have a what they call a touch strip. You can lightly see, once the device will turn on, it'll be easier to see actual 3 keys that are actually backlit, and they allow you to skip tracks and play pause in your music application, which is powered by Walkman by Sony. And of course, since this is still a music phone at heart, the music and sound quality is extremely important to this device, and it doesn't fail us with its built-in wide range of support for different media files and a great stereo sounding speaker built into the phone, in addition to, again, to that Bluetooth wireless stereo speaker support, and again, just a great application for storing and playing back music with that 8 gigs of built-in memory. In terms of the keypad, you'll find access to a standard T9 style layout. The buttons are kind of smallish and they're very flush together. Again, this phone is pretty wide to make room for that screen, but the actual width of each key is kind of small, but they are still pretty easy to press overall, and they are backlit, so it's going to be easy to read under direct sunlight. They're tactile, and they're pretty much risen above the surface of the device, just a little bit cramped. You have back keys, clear keys, and a Walkman key. Below the phone itself, you have access to that proprietary charging and syncing port. Unfortunately, for a Walkman-based handset, this actually doesn't have a 3.5mm headphone jack. You have to use the included adapter, which allows you to connect to a wired pair of headsets. But again, you do have that Bluetooth support and that built-in stereo speaker support, just not as good as we expected in terms of that. A Walkman logo on the left-hand side, also a scroll jog dial, also a click-in to select, a lanyard cord, microphone there, and on the right-hand side, you have a camera capture key for recording video with the back camera. And of course, Sony has also embedded the fact that this has 8 gigs of flash memory with a pretty showy, if you ask us, an 8GB logo there, and it says, "I'm 8 gigs, you can't remove me." It's a little bit, again, a pretty cocky thing to do, but it is there, and it's, it's a nice feature. It's a nice touch that makes this device different from other devices out there. Has a huge capacity in terms of built-in storage. You also have a volume rocker that's in between the 8GB logo. It doesn't really do anything. It's just there as a decoration again. On the top of the device, you have access to the on-off key. And on the back of the device, you'll find access to the camera lens, the 3.2 megapixel camera. It's autofocus enabled, along with dual LED flashes for night flashes, night shots. You also have a loudspeaker, and on the back, you also have access to that stylus that we were talking about. The stylus is perhaps one of the weakest parts of the Sony Ericsson handset. It's a very flimsily made stylus. It's quite long, but it's very thin, and it just doesn't feel very good. Thankfully, you don't have to always use the stylus. You'll get along just fine by using your fingers in this device. The UI is pretty optimized for touch. And overall, it does look pretty much like a camera on the back. Removing the back cover, you'll find access to your SIM card slot, which I'll show you right now. You'll move the battery, and you'll have the SIM card slot over here, and that's pretty much it. There's no expandable memory by mini or micro SD card slots. They're all built into the 8 gigs that are non-user removable, as indicated by the decoration here. So it's very important for you to sync information and sync songs using the PC to phone cord that comes included in the package here. And the back is made of the soft touch material, so it is pretty nice to grip in the hand, and overall sandwiched between the two black colors is this white band that makes the device look pretty streamlined and slim, which makes the device definitely a sleek smartphone. Sony has done a great job with the prosthetics and with the exterior of this device, and we're pretty pleased overall with how this device looks. To turn on the device, again, we power it on by pressing the on-off button, and the device will vibrate and of course turn on. You'll be greeted to the pretty typical Symbian screen, and overall you'll find the ability to call people. Sound quality on here is pretty good. Unfortunately, sometimes the microphone can get a little bit distorted, but overall it's pretty impressive, and the speakerphone is loud and crisp thanks to the fact that the stereo speakers on here are very good and powerful. Overall, you can use 3G to browse the web or Wi-Fi, or Bluetooth to make hands-free calls, and the camera is pretty decent. You can edit PowerPoints and Excel documents. It's pretty much everything you really need to know about this handset. It has great battery life as well, and of course it has a great emphasis on music, and we'll get more into that into the second part of this video review.